Hello everybody, and welcome to my factory and home on ZOPK 1. I believe that this factory, which we're going to take a detailed walkthrough later, is the first truly galactic factory in that it manufactures all of the 30 possible goods that you can and sells them right on the site. Well, this wouldn't have happened without my effort at the beginning to try and investigate why it was so hard for people to do this, why they were so frustrated. Well, in my first video, I uncovered and revealed the conspiracy that the Cydonia Mining Company, along with its subsidiaries, Bethesda, created problems and obstacles for outpost builders as a way to limit competition from the sale of finished products. In the course of that investigation, I found a group of dedicated hackers and scientists call themselves Nexus, and they have built tools that can counteract all of these policies. And I have another video in which I go in detail how those tools work. But today we're going to spend our time at the factory itself. This beautiful home is TG Builders Homes. It was founded by this great lady here, Tank Girl 444. Hi, Tank Girl. Now I'm going to walk through the home. I haven't furnished it yet. I just have a few workbenches over here, but we'll go out on the wraparound deck, and next we'll meet LuxZg, who has a lot of wonderful facilities that he can help you build. He helped me build the foundation that this factory is built on. And over here is Ice Wolf 999. Hi, Ice Wolf. He helped me build these catwalks and the containers that I use, the all-purpose containers. There's a big one there, and the small ones you can see throughout the factory that serve as bins to collect materials. But here's the champion, Remosito, also known as Magnus the Magnate, and he created the system that actually permits this factory to work. So I'm going to ask him to explain it. Up the system for me here and how it works, and he said sure. Well, of course your raw materials are all coming in from your outpost into the spice container, and this is the list of the planets and where they're coming from. They all come in and get distributed there to the first of my 4 components. Now I have sorters, splitters, skimmers, and sellers. So to start with the sorters, as those materials come in, they are sent over to these blue bins that are along the side and in the back, and they are separated out into the individual materials that are then go into bins that can be connected easily to the fabricators all the way up through the multiplex fabricators. We also have skimmers. So if you have materials, and you have, that you've identified that you're getting more than you need for immediate production, the skimmers take 10% of that production off the top from the container, sends them into these, again, repurposed fabricators that are dumped into the bins and then linked with my sellers for sale. We also have a higher level division system, which are called splitters. Splitters will take 50% of your incoming materials and again distribute them either to production or directly for sales or some other purpose, whatever you have in mind. And then finally we have these blue kiosks here, which take bundles of your finished materials or raw materials, and I will buy them in bulk, turn them into credit sticks, which you can then take over to the trade authority and sell. Simple as that. Well, Reposito, I know it's working great. But let's go down to the factory floor and actually see it in operation. Here's Ice Wolf again. Good to see him. Just a reminder, these are his catwalks, which are really terrific. And he, of course, produces the beautiful spice containers that you see here. So Remosito, of course, here is your sorters, and you see the materials are going right into the bins. I see I'm low on Vitinium. That's surprising. And then across the way, we have some of the fabricators are linked with sellers. So here we're getting cred sticks for the rheostats, reactive gauge, mag pressure tank. So the challenge in running this Remosito is to try and figure out where I have excess and I can sell, as opposed to keeping materials in line for production. Here's the adaptive frames, quite a few of those credits sitting there. But I have a huge inventory of adaptive frames set aside for production, way more than I need. So although I am selling some of these, it looks like I should be selling more. If we go down, let's go down a little bit further and begin to see what's happening with selling from the other fabricators. Well, here we're selling polytextile. We have a huge fortune in polytextile. Over here, for the multiplex fabricators, we're selling drilling rigs. They get cred sticks to the value of 10,000. And here is semi-metal wafers. We have 120 10K cred sticks there, but I still have 12,000 in inventory. So you can see this tremendous value being locked up and lost in these containers, although I am able to sell some of them. Here's the nuclear fuel rods, and this one is molecular sieves. Over here are the splitters, and those are taking 50% of the intake for here 4 different materials. Dysprosium, I have 405 cred sticks, each with a value of 3,000 credits. Tungsten, 1K credits. Cosmetic, 3K, and antimony, 340 3K credit sticks. So I'm able to adjust the inventory, although you see I have a huge amount of antimony here. So this is a serious problem I have to address. Well, finally, our third level fabricators, but you'll notice that there is very few actual products in these containers. But there's a reason for that, and we're going to go up and ask Remosito to explain it. Remosito, why do I have so few finished products in my multiplex fabricator bins? And he said, well, it's very simple. Those bins are connected directly to these blue seller kiosks, which from my point of view are actually buyer kiosks. Take Vitinium fuel rods. You see you have 763 cred sticks with a value of 30,000 credits. That's because for every 18 Vitinium fuel rods you produce, I buy them for 1 credit stick with a retail value of 30,000 credits. So you can see that you have a fortune in credit sticks here. If you just wanted the fuel rods, we could just eliminate the seller and they'd build up in that bin, but you want to sell them. And we see it's the same. This is the final production of the system is producing a fortune, which I've had to lay out, but I really like those materials. I can sell them and get a very good price for them. And I said, well, that's amazing. So tell me about the skimmers. Well, as I said before, they take 10% of the production off the top as it's coming in on from your outposts. And you program these to the materials that you think you have excess of. So here, plutonium, you've gotten yourself 20 credits, 20 cred sticks, each with a value of 3,000. And if we go down the row, cesium, not much happening with that. Rothosite, you got 10,000 credits. Silver, not much. Tantalum, 3,000, 3 credits. Lithium, 3,000. So they're not big numbers, but they add up. Well, here's Indesite, 111 10,000. Let's take them, and we'll go over to the Trade Authority, and you can sell them to demonstrate that that happens in capacity. Well, my guys have helped you get 400,000 in credits. So let's go down and we'll sell those 10,000 cred sticks. There was 111 of them, and each 10,000 credit stick, when you sell it, unfortunately, you only get 1562. But that's 173,382 credits. So sell them all, it's added to your bank account. And that is the way that the system works. Now, I would strongly recommend that you not leave all this fortune in cred sticks sitting in these machines. I offer a Galbank container, and I'll show that to you. I think I'm going to do an experiment, Remosito. I'm going to take your cred sticks that have been accumulating in all of these cellars around the outpost, and I'm going to take them and dump them into this Galbank box, remove them all, link all the seller kiosks to the Galbank box, and we'll see in 24 hours how many cred sticks I have accumulated while I've been sleeping, which is the big test for me. What do you say? Sounds good to me, said Remosito. Okay, well, the sun is going down. I've connected all my seller kiosks to the Galbank container. I've moved it up here, and I also have my Trade Authority terminal here. Lynn is hard at work. So I have a huge fortune in here in credits. So I'm going to take them all out. And now I'm going to go sleep for 24 hours. See if I'm able to satisfy Mr. Buffett's description of how you get rich. So, okay. See you 24 hours. Okay, it's been about 24 hours. Let's see how we did. Okay, 680 30K, 2010, 273s, and 541s. Now to translate that, those are credit sticks. We need to translate them into credits, so I'm going to take them and go to the Trade Authority. Let's just make sure I have, okay. And let's start with the 1K credits, 540. That equals, I'm going to write this down, 84240. The 10K is 31 240, 240. The 3K is 126, 360. And the 30K is 3,187,160. So back of the envelope, it looks like that's about 3.3 million while I was sleeping. So I think that Warren would do me proud. There's one other stop I want to make before we leave and before the sun goes down. Senterpat has been waiting patiently over in the field where you see some greenhouses, and I want to give him a chance to tell us what that's about. Let's go over to Senterpat. Hey, Senterpat. How you doing, man? Tell us about these greenhouses. Are you making resources with the fauna that are on this planet? And he said, no, these are my inventions. They're organic synthesizers. You've told me that you have shortages in solvent and memory substrate. So if we go over to this one, we program it into the material that you're looking for. In this case, you want solvent, and that requires analgesic and antimicrobial and water. That's built, and it's creating solvent for you. The same with these other three. Over here, you have a memory substrate problem, and that's always the case, that since I think Fermi is the only place where you can get memory substrate, and that's built with sealant, polytextile, and solvent, which you put in this bin over here. And there's the memory substrate, which I need to take and make sure it gets over into the memory substrate bin. Okay, well, what other things does your Ultimate Tweaks help you do? He said, well, you can do inorganics. If we go over to here, around the corner, we have these fabricators, which are actually converters. And in this case, you said you needed neodymium. It converts aluminum to neodymium. And over here, we're converting lithium to ionic liquids. Well, I also have a third device, Senterpat told me. It's called the nano extractor. For example, on this outpost, let's say that you wanted to mine ytterbium, but it turns out that it isn't available in this location. Well, you don't want to change locations, but you know that it is on the planet. So it's a simple matter. If you go into your build mode, I've loaded the programming in for a nano extractor, and it can be iron, lead, silver, which you're already extracting here, tantalum, and ytterbium. So let's choose ytterbium. Even though you were in an alkyne location, this nano extractor right here is mining ytterbium. It's got an incredible programming ability to be able to go deep down and find ytterbium even if it's not located close by here. So those are the highlights of what I offer. Of course, We also do expanded containers and more outposts and crafting and furniture. We have a kind of an all-purpose area. So I thanked him, and I wanted to get back because I had a couple things I wanted to go over with LuxZg before we all close up for the day. So let me go up on that. Oh, there's Lux. Okay. Hi, Lux. You know, you had asked me before what I considered to be the major advantage of this system, in addition to making money, of course. And I wanted to show you, and that is, if I go up and fly over mode here, it is very easy for me to monitor how the system is doing. I can just fly over and look at each of these rows of fabricators, and I can see what my inventory is, and I have substantial inventories and everything, but so far no shortages. And they go over to the multiplexes. Everything seems to be doing very well, but it does raise the question for me, Lux, and we had talked about this, is since I have such an expanded inventory, my extractors are being so efficient and the system is bringing so many materials in, I think I could easily double the size of this outpost. And he said, well, that would be a serious mistake. Let me tell you about another one of our customers who tried this. He built this outpost on Linnaeus 4B, and as you can see, he loaded it with everything. In fact, he was collecting all 70 of the resources in the universe. And he built HABs and container walls and all kinds of extras, turrets, robots. And it got to be too much. And eventually the system crashed. What happened? I asked. He said this. The entire outpost came to a grinding halt. It had to be destroyed because it couldn't be repaired. And I said, well, what caused that to happen, Lux? He said, it generated too much heat. Let's go over and take a look at your setup here. You know, you have all these dozens and dozens of fabricators hard at work, and they generate substantial amount of heat. We measure outpost heat in an acronym called FPS, and that stands for Fahrenheit per second. It's an inverse relationship. So the higher your FPS, the better in terms of heat management. The lower, the worst. That outpost was down to 15 FPS, and it was unsustainable. And I said, well, you know, you've seen I have substantial inventories collecting of both intermediary products and raw materials. I thought I could double the size of this outpost and make it work. And he said, that, of course, would be a terrible mistake. And I said, well, okay, well, I do have another idea, and actually it's going to be the subject of my next video. So thank you, Lux. Let me just describe that for a second. I have moved some of my processing out to outposts that are actually generating the raw materials that we use here. And although I can take some of the fabricators that we've seen over here, take them out of the production line and have them turn out finished products and sell them right on the site without having to pass all of the production on to the higher level fabricators. I like the idea of moving it to the other outposts. And my next video, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to show you how we do it. By the way, I just want to mention, of course, one reactor here from my friend MadMax at MTech UC Nuclear. So I will see you with the next video. We'll start off by looking at the outpost. We're making Vitinium fuel rods. Thanks a lot.